If you're into your menswear, you've probably fallen down the Japanese selvage denim rabbit hole. And one of the brands most responsible for the fabric's rise in popularity is FULLCOUNT. But how did they get to where they are today, and what makes their pieces so special? So the story of FULLCOUNT kind of starts in the 1970s when this high quality vintage craze swept across Japan. In the post-war period, a lot of Japanese youth were kind of taking style notes from America, and that carried with it denim and jeans. With the demand for jeans and denim in general becoming higher and higher in this period, brands were forced to scale up their production, which meant lowering their quality. So you had brands using projectile looms instead of shuttle looms, skimping out on denim, and this ended up in the kind of late 80s, early 90s, leaving a lot of people wanting that high quality denim that you saw in America in the 1950s and 1960s. So it's in the mid 80s and into the 90s where we start seeing the Osaka 5 appear. The Osaka 5, as you may know, are the kind of big 5 denim brands that started this selvage denim revolution in Japan. These brands include Studio d'Artisan, Denim, Evisu, Warehouse, and FULLCOUNT. FULLCOUNT was the 4th of the 5 brands to appear and was started by Mikihara Sujita-san. Surrounded by brands that were either doing kind of direct reproductions or brands that were going really streetwear with their denim, FULLCOUNT wanted to kind of stay in this middle ground zone where they were referencing mid-century American denim, but they weren't afraid to get a little bit more contemporary with it and adapt their fits to modern cuts. This positioned FULLCOUNT in a really interesting place because it was super accessible to people without degrading any of the quality. So they became sort of the de facto starting point for a lot of denim heads. Since they began in the 90s, FULLCOUNT has grown into this globally recognized fashion brand. I think they're basically a household name in the menswear world. So we've gathered up some of our favorite pieces, some things we think are kind of essential FULLCOUNT items, and we're going to walk you through our picks. So the first thing we should talk about with FULLCOUNT, they're a denim brand, we need to talk about their denim. The way FULLCOUNT makes their denim is really special, and it's part of the reason why they have become so popular. They use hand-picked Zimbabwean long staple cotton. This is both stronger and softer than machine-picked cotton, so it means you'll have a really hard-wearing pair of jeans, but not one that will be uncomfortable when you wear it. Part of the reason why they've chosen this long staple cotton is it's really similar to sort of the Tennessee-grown cotton that American jeans would have been made of in the 1950s and 1960s. Tennessee cotton is obviously still available, but because of over-farming, the staple length has shortened quite a bit, so it doesn't have the same quality as it used to have, which is why they've chosen the Zimbabwean. The second thing that makes FULLCOUNT's denim really special is the kind of looms they use. The brand has specifically chosen looms from the 1960s and kind of kept them going. Obviously, this mid-century fabric is what really inspired FULLCOUNT in the first place, so they've made really special effort to keep as close as possible to the originals. I personally really love the story about FULLCOUNT kind of coming into the factory and choosing their looms, because these dedicated looms that FULLCOUNT now uses were actually going to be decommissioned by the factory, and it was FULLCOUNT's business that kept this stuff alive. So I think the best place to start with FULLCOUNT's denim is probably the jean that made them famous, the jean that has, I think, kept them as popular as they are. It's the 0105. So this is the base model 13.7 ounce 0105. It's obviously cut with that lovely Zimbabwean denim we were talking about, and it has everything you would expect from a classic pair of jeans. You've got the belt loops, you've got this lovely yoke back here, button fly, exposed rivets, and a lovely wide leg. This is really similar to a classic pair of jeans, but FULLCOUNT has made a few adaptations to make it a little bit more versatile and a little bit more kind of welcoming in a modern wardrobe. Quite a lot of room around the top block, which is quite helpful because you're never going to feel restricted by the fabric back here. Very easy to move around in. You've got a slightly higher rise than usual, so this kind of just makes the jeans a little bit more flattering. It is slightly wider than your average pair of selvage jeans, but I do think that's what sets this cut apart from anything else on the market. Obviously, all of their classic blue jeans are rope dyed with this really nice indigo, and they will fade fantastically. We've actually got 3 separate weights of their classic indigo jean. You've got my choice. This is the pair I own, the pair I wear all the time. This is the 15.5 ounce heavyweight version. It's the XX fabric, again, referencing that mid-century denim production. Because these are slightly more heavyweight than the 13.7 ounce jeans, you're going to get a higher indigo content, which means more contrasty fades, and that's why they're my personal choice. If these are a bit too heavy for you, if you like wearing your jeans in the summer, there's also a super smooth version. These are 11.5 ounces and straight out the gate, really soft. Super lightweight, super flowy, so if you're looking for a lightweight pair of jeans, super smooth is it. If you want to kind of cheat the fade, if you want just a faded pair of jeans from the get-go, Full Count are also really well known for the washes they do. They've got a couple of different washes. They've got stuff like Fury of the Dark, More Than Real, but I think the favorite, fan favorite, star favorite is definitely the Dartford wash. This wash is really meticulously done. There's been a lot of research and a lot of effort put into the Dartford wash. They keep it very kind of tight-lipped how they achieve it, but it results in a fantastically, authentically faded pair of jeans. You can see you've got this fantastic kind of hand abrasion on the pockets, on the knees, and this lovely blue going into white fade across the whole jean. I think as pre-faded jeans go, this is probably the gold standard. And then if you want something even lighter than a Dartford, again, another pair I own, I absolutely love these. It's the Ecru 0105s. So this is actually the natural color of denim before it's been indigo dyed. And that's all this is. It's an undyed pair of jeans, exactly the same as your classic kind of 13.7 ounce 0105. I think white jeans can sometimes have a stigma, but something I really love about these is they're off-white. So they're not that stark white that you think of like 90s jeans. They're this really subtle color that works fantastically if you're wearing kind of like a black t-shirt or darker tones on top. The 0105 is not the only jean Full Count does, and there's others that I think are really worth mentioning. The first one is the 1101, which I think is actually the perfect jumping off point if you haven't had sort of a wide leg selvage jean before. This is way closer to kind of the 1960s biker jeans that we were seeing in America. It's a slightly slimmer leg, but still wide enough to not be constricting. They're easy to move in and they are very flattering. They've got everything you would expect from a jean, just like the 0105s. You've got the rivets, you've got the button fly, quite a long leg. I think especially if you're kind of uncomfortable in wider jeans, but you want to move in that direction, this is probably the way to go. I actually think this jean is maybe the most versatile jean Full Count does. Dress them up with a blazer, you'll look fantastic. Wear them with a leather jacket and go more of a biker style, you'll look great. These are just super easy to wear and I think a kind of essential in a wardrobe. If you want to go much slimmer, the 1108 is your cut. This is a slim jean, so you're not quite at the level of skinny jean, but it's certainly a lot slimmer than your 1101 or your 0105. I think this is great if you're looking for more of that classic look, if you really love your kind of traditional selvage denim, your 2000 selvage denim, this is the perfect jean for that. Obviously, because these are a lot slimmer, you're going to have a lot of friction on the legs, so you'll get some fantastic honeycombing. I would pop them on with a pair of Red Wings, get the heavier weight, and you'll have some lovely jeans after a few years. So moving on from jeans, Full Count also has a fantastic collection of denim jackets. The first we're going to talk about, and my favorite style of jacket in general, is the Type 1 denim jacket. So Full Count are always very, very kind of historically accurate with their jackets. Their mainline 2107 jacket is cut from the base 13.7 ounce fabric. You've got a lovely leather patch, triple pleats, the standard one pocket on the chest, and that lovely cinch back detail if you want to pull it in around the waist. If you're lucky enough to grab it, the brand also does a limited World War II edition, which is slightly shorter and doesn't have this pocket flap. Moving a little bit further through time, we've got the Type 2. This jacket is obviously really recognizable for its kind of counterculture roots in the 50s and 60s, worn by people like Martin Sheen in Badlands. I think a really nice jacket. As opposed to the Type 1, obviously you've got two pockets, you've got a longer body, and the back cinch has been removed in favor of these side tabs. Like the jeans, the denim jackets come in a variety of weights. This is the heavier weight version, the 15.5 ounce. All of this denim can be denoted by either the SS for the super smooth or the XX for the heavier weight. All of these jackets as well have the selvage ID running up the inside of the button placket. And then rounding out the big three, we've got the Type 3 or trucker jacket. Obviously very different than the Type 2 and Type 1. You've got the triangular pleats and these lovely western pockets. The cut of the Type 3 is quite slim, so I think this is a really flattering jacket if you're a bit taller, a bit slimmer. One thing to note about all of Full Count's jackets is they tend to have quite short arms, so it's worth double checking the measurements before you buy. And then we have a personal favorite of mine, a chore jacket. Much longer body. Obviously this was built for kind of storage and working on the railroad, so you've got plenty of pockets, plenty of protection and cover from the elements. Some really fun details I love about this jacket. You've got the Laurel buttons here. This is based on a World War II chore jacket. So you've got that kind of historic detail there. And I think the contrast stitching and these little red bar tacks really throw it back to that old school mid-century workwear. And just like the jeans, you've also got the denim jackets in a variety of washes. I've picked out two of my favorites. Firstly, I absolutely love this ecru undyed type 1. I think this is a super underrated, versatile jacket. I like to wear this either under a leather jacket in the winter or with some just simple blue or black jeans. And then we've also got the Dartford wash on all of these jackets. This is the chore jacket that we were just talking about, but in that gorgeous Dartford wash. The same sort of treatment's been applied to this that has to the jeans, but it doesn't lose any of its softness or its structure. You can see how much work goes into this fade based on the wear to the bottom here, the wear on the tag, and just this lovely all over fade across the denim. So obviously as a brand, Full Count are best known for their denim jeans and jackets, but they also carry a huge collection of other core stock, and we've gathered up some of our favorites. So still staying on the denim for the time being, I personally love their Western shirts. I think they are a really, really flattering cut, and they have these fantastic snap buttons that really hark back to that old school 1950s, 1960s Western wear. Really contrasty, so they are bold, but I think that just adds to the look. You've got this fantastic Western yoke front and back. Can't have a Western shirt without barrel cuffs. One thing to say about Full Count shirts is they do run slightly small. I usually wear a 42. With Full Count shirts, I size up to a 44. It's an 8-ounce denim, so it's super lightweight, perfect for summer. And just like all of their other denim items, they also come in these fantastic washes. This is a really heavily washed variant of this Western shirt. You can see lovely fading, kind of hand splatter marks, so it looks like it's been really authentically worn in, and it doesn't affect the structure or quality of the denim. If you want something a little more classic, we've got this work shirt here. Again, comes in a variety of different fades. You've got the indigo version of this as well, but my favorite is this heavily washed version. Lovely contrasty black buttons, the 2 chest pockets to store your things, and a lovely kind of dagger-ish collar, but it's not too extreme. Especially with these washed variants, the denim has a really soft feel, so these are super comfortable from day one. And then for something a little bit more lightweight, if you're going into the summer, we've got that classic work shirt in this super lightweight chambray. You've got very similar details to the last work shirt. You've got these twin chest pockets, a lovely flattering cut, and this dagger collar. I often think chambray gets kind of confused for a really lightweight denim, but it's not the same. It's still cut from cotton, but it's a really supple, really lightweight fabric. So this on its own in the summer is a really fantastic choice if you want to keep that kind of heritage style going. And then moving into slightly different territory, we've got a couple of Full Count sweatshirts. I think Full Count sweatshirts are done really nicely. They're quite unique. They're kind of a 1930s, 1940s style. You've got this super thick ribbing along the hem and the cuffs, and you've also got a functional neckline there. This is in place to stop the neckline stretching as you wear it, so it keeps its shape really well. One thing to say about their sweatshirts as well, they are all knit on loop wheel machines, so they've got no side seams, and it just means they'll keep their shape a lot better as you wear them. If you're more of a hoodie person, we've also got this fantastic after hood. You've got the sweatshirt underneath and then the hood attached after, which I think gives off a really nice kind of heritage vintage feel. The texture of these is super soft, they're really warming, and then you've also got this fleece back interior, so they feel really nice when you're wearing them. And then to round everything out, we have possibly my favorite pair of chinos ever. These are the 1201 US Army chinos. They're fantastic. They are cut from 100% cotton, they're really, really soft, and they have this lovely flattering wide leg. I think these are maybe the most versatile chinos on the market. I wear my pair maybe 4 times a week. They are probably my most worn pair of trousers. Wear them with a pair of loafers and dress them up, they look great. Wear them with a biker boot or a heavier lug sole boot, or just a classic pair of white trainers for something a little more casual. They really do go with everything. They've got a bit of a higher rise, so they are very flattering, and I think they are really the perfect cut. I think chinos a lot of the time can kind of stray into this area where they look a bit odd. They might be a bit too slim, a bit too kind of heavy on the top block. These just get everything right. I can't praise these chinos enough. So that's Full Count. I think if you are looking for a brand that really carries you through the kind of essential items, especially if you're looking for reliable denim, Full Count is where it's at. Everything the brand does is really purposeful. from the choice of cotton to decisions around looms and fabrics. I personally love when you can tell there's been a really kind of considered effort behind a garment. I think especially when you're looking at basics, especially when you're looking at kind of stuff like chinos, stuff like denim jackets, which are produced by a lot of people, it's that kind of decision making and really thoughtful attitude to creation that I think sets these pieces apart. We're one of the largest full count stockists in the world, certainly outside of Japan. So if you are unsure about any of these garments, always reach out or browse online. We're here to help.